Roy is rattling his antlers to try and get a fallow buck to come to him. I go grouse shooting with a lad who's having a red letter week in Scotland. We've got news stump, we've got hunting YouTube. Welcome to Fieldsports Britain. Roy has a new grunt, and early to mid-October should be the best time to try it. Word on the street, well, the forest path, is that the fallow rut this year is a bit of a hit and miss affair, but Roy is tooled up and ready to hit, not miss.
It's 5 o'clock in the morning. No, it's not. Actually, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. 5 o'clock, we've been very silly. No, 6 o'clock in the morning, and we are hoping that the fallow buck... and we are very early, and we are hoping that the fallow buck rut is on. So we have grunter at the ready, we've got antlers at the ready, we have willing helpers at the ready, and we're going to go in and see what we can find. Main aim of today is to go in, obviously, have a look on a couple of rutting stands. Hopefully we may find our big old boy. I want to assess him because he's now starting to crack on, so it might be the year to take him, but we'll have a look and see how he's looking. If not, then we'll look to take a couple of satellite bucks if we can. There are a few prickets with very poor heads, so if we come across those, then they'll be prime candidates for this morning as well. So I think a few people are saying they've heard grunting. We're still potentially a little bit early, but you know, it should be kicked in, so fingers crossed.
There are two main rutting stands on this ground, but dog walkers can put the fat in the fire, the cat among the pigeons, and even the bat in the belfry, if you see what I mean. Our first approach through the bracken disturbs a couple of does. We keep still and they walk off without sounding the alarm. Roy takes it slowly, and when within 100 yards of the stand, he starts with the antlers, simulating bucks fighting. We see movement. He switches to the call. Suddenly there's interest from in front and behind. We switch to IR sensitive mode to get a better look at a spiker that's just 50 yards over our shoulders.
That went really well. We had a pricket come in behind us, came steaming in. I think it was a pricket anyway. I couldn't do when I turned it. We could look at it. We had a load of does and a pricket come up from the bottom as well. It looks like the rut hasn't kicked off on this particular stand, so rather than upset everything, we're just going to let them trickle back into the bracken and settle back down, and we'll come back into this stand in a couple of days and see if it started to pick up. But no, that was really encouraging. I love watching it, absolutely superb, and that was a wonderful response, seeing all the does come up. We'll clear out of here and go and try another stand. But again, we'll try and stalk out as quietly as we can now. I mean, unfortunately that little pricket has been educated, but this lot came up and they were a little bit unsure. Obviously they made us in the end, but they weren't too spooked, and we just let them trickle back down. They're just still there, moving back into the woods. Someone's still feeding.
There's more movement in front, and Roy thinks he should have had a shot.
I thought it was a pricket coming up. I've just seen him again going through the trees as he was grazing away, and it was a very poor 2-year-old, so we should really have taken that one. But he'll still be here, as I say. I don't really want to cause a massive amount of disturbance on this stand. We'll just let this settle, and hopefully we'll come back in a couple of days' time, and there might be a big buck in residence, and then we can have a look and see what he's like.
We leave the stand as quietly as we can and make our way to the second. The approach is slow and methodical again. There are too many potential lookouts to rush it. This time we get right onto the stand. It has been busy, but it's not at the muddy, smelly stage Roy expects.
We've come into the rutting stand, and again you can see there's definitely been a beastie on here. So there's been a buck holding court, but it doesn't smell that much. You know, when you get down on the ground and sniff it, it really doesn't smell, you know, that strong and poached up at the moment. So I think we are just at the sort of inception of it. It's quite a tricky little stand to get into, this one, because he's got nice little banks going up to the woodland there, and fairly open view out. What wind we had, unfortunately, was eddying in on us. I think he was probably just mooching around in here, but I reckon that we probably winded them as we came in this time. So we saw the does early on as we were coming in, but it's a good sign. At least we know that, you know, they're in. And hopefully another few days, and if the temperature drops, if we get a frost, it'll be lovely, and it might kick off again. So we'll just have a look out on the we've got a sort of clearing out here, so we'll just make sure there's nothing just sneaking along the edge of the woodland there, and I think we shall reappoint and come back and see the boys in a few days.
So the rut is on, but not in full swing. Let's hope Roy gets another chance to come back and see if his favourite buck is back in town. Good calling skills by Roy there. Now, someone who comes when you whistle, it's David on the Fieldsports Channel News Stump.
This is Fieldsports Channel News.
A shooter has accused wildlife campaigners of deliberately sabotaging wildfowling. Martin Gould was shooting with two friends at Findhorn Bay when a man in an orange high-vis jacket walked to the edge of the sand and disturbed the flight of geese. The first ante was joined by another man in a green high-vis jacket. Martin notes they were not dog walkers or bird watchers and seemed only intent on scaring birds. A deer stalker in the USA has unlocked two rutting whitetails. The current hero of the internet found the animals with their antlers intertwined. The film on Mojo TV has since gone viral. Meanwhile, last week's internet sensation did not make it through the hunting season. A black bear in New Jersey that earned the name Pedals because it continually walked upright was shot during the state bow hunting season. The bear walked this way because it's thought to have had either injured or stunted front limbs. Of course, aunties are now calling for a bear hunting ban. Animal rights activists in Northern Ireland have lashed out at police over a dead deer. The police service of Northern Ireland shot a stag on the loose in Newry. A spokeswoman for Animal Aid says the police should have moved the animal to a more appropriate location, and a spokeswoman for PETA said the police should have guided the stag out of the city safely. An Australian environmentalist has outraged aunties because he culls cats. Barry Green has been trapping, skinning and tanning the hides of feral cats for the past 19 years. Feral cats are a problem on Australia's third largest island, and it's home to important numbers of native wildlife, thanks to its isolation, 10 miles off the South Australian coast. French sports giant Decathlon has come under fire for a new poster campaign. The migration special poster angered not anti-hunters, but anti-immigration activists. Decathlon, which sells shooting kit, has withdrawn the poster. And finally, Mark Zuckerberg says he loves hunting. The billionaire Facebook founder made the comment during a Facebook Live video chat to 85,000 people before the second US presidential debate. Speaking from his backyard live on Facebook, he declared his love for hunting, harvesting his own food and barbecuing. On this occasion, brisket and ribs.
You are now up to date with Fieldsports Channel News. Stalking the stories, fishing for facts.
Thank you, David. Next up, I'm off to Scotland to tramp across the moor in search of a grouse.
So Monday I caught my first salmon, and it was quite an incredible salmon, and it was a 12 pound for my first fish on a 9'6" rod. So it was quite extreme. That was my first salmon, so that was quite an experience. I was sort of just casting, and then out of nowhere it took the line very softly, and then I was very well instructed by my friend Will, who managed to sort of coax it in after about half an hour of fighting.
Salmon in Sutherland is pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, you should retire at that point.
Yeah.
What happened on day 2?
So day 2 was the stag, and I sort of set off in the morning and stalked one bit of ground and didn't have any luck. And then I went and had a look on the mountain, and I managed to find a group of about 30 hinds and calves, and there were a few stags in there. So I managed to shoot an 8-pointer, which was a nice sort of oldish beast.
Good. Now you're holding the result of today, and for anybody who doesn't know, this is quite important. The salmon, a stag, and a grouse in 3 days in Sutherland is pretty remarkable. I'm surprised we're not seeing bunting hung out from the local hotel. What happened with this one?
So I had a bit of a walk across the moor below the mountain, and so just before it started to pour down with rain, we came across a grouse, which was sort of just off to my left, and it sort of sprang out, and then we managed to get a shot off at it. So yeah, it's fantastic.
It was pretty quick, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a quick bird, and it's the first grouse that I've shot as well. So I wasn't expecting it at all.
We didn't just see grouse, and we saw all sorts of things, didn't we?
Yeah, we saw a few grouse and a few snipe, and then a few geese came overhead, also not quite overhead, but just out of range. And then we saw 16 hinds as well.
In terms of kind of what Sutherland has to offer, do you feel you've seen it all?
Yeah, I think I've experienced most of the far corners of Sutherland so far. So it can only go further uphill, can't it?
From the hills of Sutherland to the wider world of hunting and shooting on YouTube, it is Hunting YouTube. This is Hunting YouTube, which aims to show the best hunting and shooting videos that YouTube has to offer. Night vision and thermal get an outing in this film by dear Eine Jäger. Quite a lot of German to start, but you will find the action showing how October is not an easy hunting month, especially when the sows have had a lot to eat. This Russian channel reproduces a boar hunting DVD on YouTube. It is formal and well shot. Going American in style, and Lone Star Boars is out shooting feral hogs in a Texan farmer's field with a 4.58 sock on. Freelance duck hunting is out for the opening weekend of the 2016 duck hunt in Kansas. They find that rarity an unhunted pool. Viewer Stuart Blair from Scotland contacts me to thank Mark Robson and Billy McPherson for a fantastic day, as evidenced by this film, pigeon decoying in Fife in July. Staying this side of the pond, they do get the benefit of some amazing scenery in Scandinavia. THLR's long-range blog takes the viewer on a wilderness hunt with camera experiments en route. The multilingual Wild Jaeger is on a wounded warrior hunt in Croatia, not after Wounded Warriors, that seems harsh, but Mouflon with a US wounded warrior called Richie Condon. And finally, it may be autumn in the Northern Hemisphere, but it is spring down under, which means the rod and rifle rafting season has arrived in New Zealand's Fiordland. Josh James Kiwi Bushman talks up eco-rafting with rod and rifle. That's it for this week. If you have a YouTube film you would like us to pop into the weekly top 8, send it in via YouTube or email me the link, charlie@fieldsportschannel.tv. We have a smorgasbord of our own films for you this week. In Airheads, Paul Hodson is defending a potato farm from rats. And Jamie will shoot absolutely anything in his efforts to test the new BSA Ultra XL. There's hot air airgunning news, and there's air streaming rounding up the best airgun videos on YouTube. Click on the link on the screen. And if you haven't done so already, go to our website, Fieldsports Channel.tv, where you can click to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on YouTube, or pop your email address into our register page, and we'll contact you about this show and our other shows every week. This show, Fieldsports Britain, at 7 PM UK time, and this has been Fieldsports Britain. Good hunting, good shooting, good fishing, and goodbye.